I'm 92 years old. 92. And I'm going to tell you something that would have offended me at 32. Money is not the real wealth. Time is. I know. You've heard that line on a mug somewhere. But listen to me. When you're young, time is money sounds smart. When you're old, it sounds like a curse you willingly repeated. Here's the shocking part. Most people don't lose their life in one tragedy. They spend it. Quietly. Daily. Like loose change. I used to believe if I stayed busy, I stayed valuable. If my calendar was full, my life must be full. I wore my exhaustion like a medal. I bragged about it. I even loved the pity in people's eyes when I said, I've been working non-stop. But I'm 92 now, and I can tell you the truth without needing your approval. The day I understood time is the real wealth, I didn't learn it in a book. I learned it in a room that smelled like burnt coffee and rain-soaked wool. I learned it from a man who thought he had more tomorrows, and so did I. His name was Raymond Price. We called him Ray. I met Ray in 1956, when I was 22, and thought I was bulletproof. We worked at the rail yard on the south end of town, the kind of place where the air tasted like metal and oil, where the ground always had a thin skin of black dust on it. Ray was 41 then, older to me, practically ancient. He wore the same brown work jacket every winter, collar frayed, zipper that stuck halfway. He kept a red handkerchief folded in his back pocket like it was part of his body. His boots were scuffed so deep you could see the layers of leather like tree rings. Ray had a habit. At lunch, he'd eat fast. 2 bites, swallow, 2 bites, swallow. Like someone might steal his time if he chewed too long. He'd glance at his watch even when the whistle hadn't blown. And he'd talk about overtime the way some men talk about prayer. "One more shift, Henry," he'd say, tapping his fork against the tin lunch pail. "One more shift and I'm caught up." Caught up to what? I never asked. I was young. I was impressed. I thought that was manhood. One Thursday in March of 1973, March 8th I remember, because it was the day after my daughter Valerie lost her first tooth. Ray came in earlier than usual. The sky outside was the color of dirty cotton. Rain had just stopped, and the whole yard smelled like wet wood and diesel. Ray looked pale. Not tired pale, sick pale. His hands shook when he lit his cigarette. He tried to laugh it off. He always did. "Just need to keep moving," he said. "If I stop, I'll feel it." He said that like it was wisdom, like it was strength, but it wasn't strength. It was fear. At 10:17 a.m., Ray collapsed between 2 cars. Just dropped, like a marionette whose strings got cut. His lunch pail rolled away and popped open. Hard-boiled egg, apple, a sandwich wrapped in wax paper. It all spilled into the dirt like it didn't matter. The foreman yelled. Men ran. Somebody's radio kept playing through the chaos. Some bright little song that didn't match the moment at all. I remember kneeling beside him. His jacket smelled like old smoke and wet wool. His eyes were open, but they weren't looking at anything. They said it was his heart. They said it was quick. They said a lot of things to make it feel less cruel. Ray died at 41. 41. And the cruel part wasn't just that he died. The cruel part was what happened next. By Monday, his job was posted. By Tuesday, someone else was wearing his gloves. By Friday, the rail yard looked exactly the same. The trains kept moving. The whistles kept blowing. But at Ray's house, the world stopped. I went to the funeral. Small church, grey carpet, folding chairs, a fan clicking in the corner like it was counting seconds. His wife, Linda, wore a black dress with tiny white buttons up the back. She looked like she had aged 10 years in 10 days. I overheard her say something to her sister just once, in a voice so small it almost disappeared. He kept saying, "After this month, after this month, after this month," and I felt it hit me like a cold hand on my neck. After this month is a lie you tell yourself so you can keep sacrificing today. Maybe you're not in a rail yard. Maybe your jacket isn't brown and frayed. Maybe your overtime is emails at midnight, meetings stacked like bricks, and a phone you check before you even sit up in bed. But I know what you're doing. You're eating your lunch fast. You're living like someone might steal your time, while you're the one stealing it from yourself. Let me talk to you directly now. I'm not your boss. I'm not your coach. I'm not selling you anything. I'm 92 years old, and I'm giving you the hard truth because I don't have time for soft lies. You think busyness means importance. You think if you slow down, you'll fall behind. You think if you don't answer fast, you'll be forgotten. But busyness is not a life. It's a diversion. It's like filling your pockets with sand and calling it gold because it's heavy. It feels substantial. It weighs you down. It makes you feel like you're carrying something valuable. But when you open your hands, it's just grit. Here's the part nobody likes to hear. Your job can replace you. Your clients will find another number to call. Your company will keep breathing when you stop. But your child won't get another childhood. Your marriage won't get another first 10 years. Your body won't get another set of knees. Your parents won't get another decade. People treat time like it's infinite because it shows up every morning. And that's the trick. It's the most polite thief in the world. It doesn't kick your door down. It just takes one day at a time and waits for you to notice, usually when it's almost gone. So let me ask you a question you might dodge with a laugh. If your life ended in 90 days, would you still be doing what you did today? Not what you post, not what you plan, what you did today? Because that's the currency, not your salary, your hours, and you're spending them like you're rich. The second lesson came later, and it came from someone who didn't die at 41. It came from someone who lived long enough to watch the bill arrive. Her name was Marjorie Bell. I met her in 1999 when I was 65 and convinced I was finally about to enjoy life. That's what I told people. Finally. Like enjoyment was a prize you got after you finished suffering. I had just taken early retirement. I had $186,000 in a retirement account, a paid-off house, and a calendar that suddenly looked empty in a way that made me nervous. I didn't know who I was without tasks. I didn't say that out loud, but it sat in my chest like a stone. Marjorie lived 2 doors down. White woman, late 70s, hair always pinned back, always smelled faintly of lavender and toast. She wore these soft cardigan sweaters, the kind with little pills on the elbows from being loved too long. One afternoon, October 12th, 1999, because I had just watched the news talking about the new millennium like it was a promise, I was raking leaves. The air had that crisp bite, and the trees were shedding gold like they couldn't hold it anymore. Marjorie was on her porch, sitting in a wooden chair with a faded cushion. She watched me rake for a while. Then she said, "Henry, you're doing it like you're racing someone." I laughed. I said, "Habit." She nodded like she understood too well. And then she said something that changed the direction of my remaining life. She said, "You don't get extra points for hurrying through your own day." I stopped raking. The leaves scraped softly against the pavement when I lifted the rake. The neighborhood was quiet except for a dog barking in the distance, and a wind chime clinking like tiny glass bones. Marjorie patted the arm of her chair. "Come sit. 5 minutes won't ruin your yard." I sat. The porch boards creaked under my weight. I remember her hands, thin skin, blue veins, a wedding band worn smooth like riverstone. She looked out at the trees and said, "I worked 38 years at the county office. Never missed a day unless I had the flu. I skipped lunches, skipped vacations, skipped my sister's last Christmas because of deadlines." She made air quotes with 2 stiff fingers. "My supervisor gave me a plaque when I retired. Guess where it is now?" I shrugged. "In a box," she said. "In my closet. Probably under some old shoes." Then she turned her head and looked at me with eyes that didn't flinch. But I can still feel the Christmas I missed. Like a bruise, I keep pressing. That's the emotional peak you don't expect when you're young. It's not fireworks. It's regret, quiet and heavy, sitting beside you like an old friend you don't actually want. I asked her, "So what do you do with that?" Marjorie breathed in, slow. I could see her chest rise under the cardigan. "You stop pretending you can buy back a Tuesday," she said. "You stop thinking later is guaranteed." A week after that porch conversation, Marjorie had a stroke. Not fatal, but it changed her speech. Slurred, slow. Her right hand curled like it wanted to hold something it couldn't. And I visited her in the rehab center. The place smelled like disinfectant and overcooked vegetables. The lights were too bright, like they were trying to erase the humanity from the room. She looked at me and tried to talk. It came out broken, but she grabbed my wrist with her good hand, squeezed hard, and forced the words out like they were expensive. "Don't wait. Henry, don't wait." That was it. That was the whole sermon. And that's when I understood something deeper than time is precious. I understood time is the only wealth you spend while you're earning everything else. You want the paradox? Here it is. The harder you chase the future, the faster you lose your present. Your generation has tools I never had. Phones, apps, reminders, calendars that beep, watches that count your steps like you're a machine. You can work from anywhere, which means you can work everywhere, and you call it freedom. But if you can't sit at dinner without checking a screen, you're not free. If you can't take a walk without turning it into productivity, you're not free. If you can't rest without guilt, you're not free. Here's the counterintuitive truth. You don't find time, you decide what deserves it, because time doesn't appear like surprise money in your pocket. It's already here, already draining away, already being spent on something, and if you don't choose, someone else will choose for you. Your boss, your notifications, your fear. So do something simple and radical. Treat an hour like $100 bill. Would you hand $100 to a stranger without asking why? Then why do you hand your hours away so easily? Actionable insight isn't complicated. It's painful. It's saying no. It's disappointing people. It's letting the email sit. It's leaving the meeting early to watch your kid's face light up when you walk in. Because that look is a fortune. Now let me tell you where I am today. It's 2026 as I speak this. I wake up at 5:40 a.m. without an alarm because my body has its own clock now. My hands shake some mornings when I try to button my shirt. My left knee argues with me when it's cold. I keep a glass of water on the table because my mouth dries out faster than it used to. My world is smaller, but it's clearer. What mattered when I was 35? Being needed, being praised, being the man who handled everything, being the man who never said no. What matters now? Hearing my granddaughter laugh in the kitchen, feeling sunlight on my forearm when I sit by the window, Having the courage to call someone and say, I miss you, before it's too late, and pride turns into a permanent silence. I'll give you a vulnerable truth I don't like admitting. I missed things. I missed ordinary days that would have been everything to me now. I remember one night, June 4th, 1981, my wife Evelyn made pork chops. The smell filled the house. Valerie was 9, sitting at the table, drawing something and waiting to show me. I came in late, briefcase in hand, jaw tight, head still at the office. Evelyn said, sit down, eat. Valerie said, Daddy, look what I made. And I said, not right now, baby. Let me wash up. I said, not right now. And I can still see her shoulders sink, just a little. Was it dramatic? No. Was it a tragedy? Not that night. But that's how life leaves you. Not in one big theft. In 1,000 small dismissals. I'm not saying you shouldn't work. I'm saying don't confuse making a living with having a life. Because at 92, wisdom gets distilled whether you like it or not. And here's my distilled truth. Time is the real wealth. Attention is how you spend it. Love is what you're buying. Now, if you want to do something about it, something practical, something you can start today, here are the steps. Not theories. Steps. 1. Put a price on your hour. Do this. Pick a number. $50, $200, $1,000. I don't care. Make it high enough to sting. Then ask yourself before you agree to anything, would I pay that amount for this? Because every yes is a purchase. You're buying something with your life, and if you don't name the cost, you'll keep overspending. 2. Stop celebrating exhaustion. Stop that. Stop bragging about sleeping 4 hours. Stop saying I've been slammed like it makes you holy. It doesn't. It makes you absent. Rest isn't laziness, it's maintenance. You wouldn't drive your car with the oil light on and call it ambition. So why do you do it to your body and your mind? 3. Create sacred time that cannot be negotiated. Do this. Choose one block, 90 minutes, twice a week. Put it on the calendar like it's a doctor's appointment, because it is. It's an appointment with your actual life. Walk. Sit with your spouse. Read to your kid. Call your mother. Go nowhere on purpose. The reason is simple. If it's negotiable, it will disappear. Every time. 4. Say no faster. Do this. When a request comes in, don't answer immediately out of fear. Say, let me check and get back to you. Then check your life first, not your inbox. Your time is not community property. When you say yes to one more thing you don't want, you're saying no to something you'll miss later, and later doesn't refund. 5. End each day with one honest question. Do this tonight. Before you sleep, ask, did I spend today like it mattered? Not, was I productive? Not, did they approve of me? Did I spend it like it mattered? And if the answer is no, don't drown in guilt. Just adjust tomorrow. Time is cruel, yes, but it's also generous in one way. It gives you another day until it doesn't. And now I'll bring you back to where we started. I'm 92 years old. 92. I've watched strong men bury their best years under paperwork. I've watched mothers lose their health while trying to be everything to everyone. I've watched families sit in the same room, staring at different screens, calling it togetherness. Time is the real wealth, and it's slipping through your hands while you argue with me in your head. Here's the urgency. You are not immortal. You are not too busy to live. You are just distracted. And distraction is a choice you can stop making. So I'm giving you a final challenge, and I mean it. Pick one person you love. 1. Give them 20 minutes today with no phone, no multitasking, no half listening. Just presence. Just your eyes. Just your attention. Because when the end comes, And it will come. You won't be comforted by how many emails you cleared. You'll be comforted by faces, voices, hands you held, moments you didn't rush through. Time is the real wealth. Spend it like you know that. All right, that's all. Go live.